We've got some quarterback rumors to discuss on today's episode regarding Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson and how that impacts the Cleveland Browns. But super quickly, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. We are less than 200 subs away from our next milestone of 43,000 subscribers. It appears that hopefully some of the quarterback dominoes are going to be falling soon, and then we can get a better picture as to who is going to be where. Sorry for the hoarse voice, by the way. I was on a red-eye from Vegas back to Dallas after my buddy's bachelor party, but still wanted to discuss Jameis Winston signing with the New York Giants over the weekend, which is not the biggest domino to fall, but I do think it starts to put together a better sense as to what could be coming next, because I feel like the Giants signing Jameis is them acknowledging where they stand in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes, which is second. So they want to make sure they at least have a good backup in Winston in case they don't get their number one target in Rodgers, and they can really rebuild this entire quarterback room. So Rodgers, if you missed it while watching all the March Madness games, he visited with the Pittsburgh Steelers on Friday. Mike Tomlin, Arthur Smith, everyone, Omar Khan, the GM, were all present for this meeting, which is very substantial because you got a whole front office skipping out on Michigan's Pro Day, which is not usually something the Steelers do. They like to go as a unit to those types of things. And they stayed in Pittsburgh to meet with Rodgers, not as a sales pitch or as a financial discussion, but as Jeremy Fowler noted, more of a get to know you. But a 6-hour meeting is a lot of getting to know you. So the reports coming out are that the Giants offer is larger than the Steelers offer, but a lot of people believe that the Steelers are in the driver's seat for Aaron Rodgers, and my 2 cents on it is they probably are, and Rodgers is just being Aaron Rodgers, and he enjoys having some spotlight on him. He enjoys being discussed in a way that's on his terms. He doesn't like being talked about when it's his decision not to get the vaccine. Then he gets really upset with Adam Schefter. But when they're talking about him and everyone is like whining and dining him and wooing him over, yeah, he's not in a rush to make a decision. Now, last year for the for the Jets, it wasn't as bad as I think even I've made it out to be. 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions with a horrible offensive game plan and coordinator duo between Nate Hackett and Todd Downing. I believe that Rodgers might have a little bit left in the tank. I still don't like him for the Browns. Not that they're even interested in Rodgers, it appears, but they do like to come out of nowhere for some of these players, but that's usually in trade talks. So Rodgers eyeing the Steelers is the biggest domino that needs to fall, because once that happens, then I think we see Russell Wilson make a decision between the Giants and the Browns. And at that point, the Browns will have a much better idea as to what they have at availability-wise for quarterback this year. Because if Rodgers picks Pittsburgh, then Russ, I think, is going to pick the New York Giants. Now, the wrinkle here would be, what if Rodgers picks New York? Well, then Russell Wilson has a decision. Go back to Pittsburgh. You can see what he did last year for the Steelers in his lone season, or come play for the Browns. Russell Wilson might be a little salty that the Steelers have made it very clear they prefer Rodgers over Russ. So there's a possibility that if the Steelers want to pivot to Russ because Rodgers picked New York, Wilson might say, screw you guys. You wanted Rodgers, you didn't get him. I'm not going to be your sloppy seconds. I'm going to go play for the Browns. I'm going to beat you twice a year. Possibility. That's just more along the lines of what a competitor might be thinking, not, hey, this is something Russell Wilson has let it be known. So with the quarterback carousel still very much in a fluid state right now, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, the two big fish out there, but everyone's waiting on Rodgers. Once Rodgers makes a decision, then Russ will know, where can I go? Because everyone is waiting and holding their breath, and by everyone, it's basically just New York and Pittsburgh, whether or not that they could land Rodgers. What I think is going to happen is this. I think Rodgers is going to pick the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that's just become more and more clear over the last week and a half, 2 weeks at this stage, really since free agency kicked off. I think Russ then goes to New York and plays for the Giants. The Browns then, I think, are stuck with either Kirk Cousins or Carson Wentz. You got to trade for Kirk, which I don't think the Browns want to do, but you could sign Wentz and not give up anything. However, I don't believe Carson Wentz is any better than Kirk Cousins. Even with the way Kirk Cousins played down the stretch last year, Wentz has not been a starter for 3 years now. He was a backup with the Rams, then he was a backup for the Chiefs, and before that, he was the Commander starter, football team starter, and he got benched halfway through the year. So Wentz is not a very good option, to say the least. And then I think Cam Ward goes first overall to the Titans, and I think Shedeur Sanders could slip to the Raiders. Possibility that the Giants take him at number 3, even with Russ and Jameis on the roster. They might decide, let's go get a rookie quarterback as well and get a brand new quarterback room. Or they might come to the realization of, hey, Shedeur is not our guy long-term anyway, but Travis Hunter could be an excellent piece. And the running joke is, if Jameis throws a touchdown, it could be to Travis Hunter. If Jameis throws an interception, Travis Hunter's on the field to tackle the DB that made the pick. So Kirk Cousins coming into the spotlight a little bit here because the Browns, after missing out on Russell Wilson, might decide we need to take a larger swing than what we are comfortable with because we have this idea of what our team is capable of, and insert Kirk Cousins, we are a playoff team. Not convinced about that. I am convinced that Kirk Cousins did play through his shoulder and elbow injury, and a healthy Kirk, like the first 9 games with the Browns defense and what they're capable of, could be a 10-7 team. I don't want to call the 2024 season a fluke because that diminishes so much to it, but with how bad they were protecting the football and 5 different quarterbacks starting for them, that is not something that you can just recycle year after year and bank on the defense to get you all the way to 11 wins and a little bit of Joe Flacco magic off the couch. So the defense, in my eyes, taking that big step back last year is one of the biggest concerns I have for insert Kirk Cousins and you're back in the playoffs. Not so sure. Insert Kirk Cousins and the Browns defense gets back to where they were. You are back in the playoffs. But the defense was not very good last year. Now, what would it cost to get Kirk? This is what I'm rolling with, a conditional 6th-round draft pick. Depending on playing time, it could elevate to a 5th. I'm sure the Falcons are going to want more than that, and maybe it is a 5th that turns into a 4th, but I think it's going to be a conditional day 3 draft pick. If Atlanta is really seeking a 3rd and they're not going to budge off that, I'm passing. No way in any way, shape, or form do I believe the Browns should relinquish a 3rd-round draft pick for Kirk Cousins and likely just one year of service. So let me know, would you trade for Kirk Cousins? Give me a yes or give me a no down in the comment section below. For a conditional 6th-rounder, sure, I'll do it. The Browns have 10 picks in this draft. I doubt they make all 10 selections. That's just a lot of rookies on your roster. You push out a lot of veterans because you want to get those rookies or 53-man roster spot. So I'd be very much on board with a conditional 6th-round draft pick. But let me know, would you trade for Kirk? Give me a yes or give me a no. Now, one name we have not talked a ton about is Joe Flacco, who is really waiting in the wings, right? He's got to wait and see who wants to call for his services after missing out on Rodgers and or Wilson. The Giants brought Flacco in for a visit, and they opted to sign Jameis Winston instead as their QB2. To me, that says a lot about what the NFL thinks of Flacco at this stage. You've got Jameis coming off a season where he had some highs, but man, did he throw a lot of interceptions, turned the ball over a ton. And that's what New York decided to invest $8 million into. The only possibility of Flacco returning would be I would say the only, that sounds too harsh. A couple of the ways he could return: an injury in training camp, a team that picks a rookie and wants him to be a backup for that rookie, and they weren't sure if they were going to get a rookie, but now they have one in April. They bring Flacco in May. Or 3, Andrew Berry swallows his pride and acknowledges letting Flacco walk last year in free agency was a mistake. We did it to protect Deshaun Watson's ego. We don't have to do that anymore, and it's best for this football team for Flacco to be a part of it. I don't expect that latter part to happen. So that's where things currently stand with Flacco in my eyes. Now, before we sign off, one quick housekeeping note here. The sale continues over on Fanatics for this Brownie the Elf hat and a whole bunch of other Browns gear as well. So go to chatsports.com/CLE hat. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. So if you want to get some more Browns gear without breaking the bank, chatsports.com/CLE hat. Now, let's pick a card. I knew, by the way, having a cigar at 11 p.m. before my 1:20 a.m. flight was a bad idea. I did not drink much in Vegas, shed them for the wedding, but cigars I think have 0 calories. So felt pretty good about that decision. And
cigars definitely have 0 calories.
Yeah.
But it hurts the throat.
It hurts the throat the next morning. But I do love a stogie. Which card do you want to go with, Reed?
Let's go with King of Clubs.
King of Clubs. I'm going to go with 6 of Diamonds. 6 was a card I got a lot at Blackjack. Not a card I wanted to see. 2 of Clubs. 2 of Clubs. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we will be back with another video later.